More than 100 defect notices have been issued to the trucking company involved in that fuel tanker crash at Mona Vale. This all unfolded while we were on air on Tuesday afternoon. The truck lost control, smashed into cars, turned onto its side and then burst into flames. The inspectors have now looked at more than half of Cootes Transport fleet and discovered brake failures, steering problems, suspension faults. 5 vehicles have been deemed so unsafe they've been taken off the road until they're fixed. Richard Olsen, Assistant State Secretary with the TWU, is on the line, the Transport Workers Union. Richard, good afternoon.
Yeah, Ben, how are you?
I'm all right. What's your reaction to the defect notices?
No, it's just totally outrageous. It's what these companies do consistently, time and time again, to hang on to unrealistic time frames, unrealistic contracts, where they're trying to satisfy these major clients of theirs and trying to do a job which is just not feasible. So the first thing that goes missing is regular maintenance. So, you know, our thoughts goes out to everyone involved up there on at Mona Vale over the past 48 hours, but something in which should really be looked at heavily, not just at the primary focus on, well, what happened in relation to maintenance, but who was responsible. And responsible.
So what you're saying here is people are knowingly cutting corners on something so important like maintenance, because let's face it, without that, these vehicles don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't stop when they're supposed to stop. And we have incidents like we had on Tuesday where people die. You're saying those corners are being cut all because they don't have the time, because they want them on the road the whole time making money.
Don't have the time, don't have the cost. Ben, we did a survey last year of 954 owner-drivers, employee drivers. Over 40% said drivers said they had to delay vehicle maintenance due to economic pressures. They're feeling it. Our drivers are feeling it. They're the ones who are putting in the DVRs every week to the companies, saying these things need to be fixed. The companies are saying, well, mate, you've got to keep going on this because we need to satisfy the client. So there's clients up there, and we talked about them all the time, including retail clients. They're all the same at the end of the day. We're working on contracts here in the transport industry, and if we don't do them, then someone else will. That's the mentality here. So these things consistently get put to the back burner, and we end up with trucks that are not safe on our roads, and the responsibility clearly lies with the transport companies. But if we look behind that, the clients are the ones who are also driving. They're the ones who are putting the pressure on downward rates, and then we find these incidents happen and we're all outraged.
Are you willing to name and shame those companies again that have got ticking time bombs on the road? I mean, what kind of pressure can you place on these companies? Where does the pressure need to be placed, I suppose?
Well, we say the real employer of these people are the clients who dictate the rates and terms on which the drivers and transport companies work on. And you know them. We've shamed them enough. The likes of the Coles are driving down rates consistently. They're lucky. Well, it's not lucky. Unfortunately, on this contract here, these guys were involved with. Cootes has an association, Michelle. Where does that take us? It takes us upstairs to Coles, and there and there, that's where the pressure lies, because they dictate the terms.
Well, they are the brand names that people know, and they are front and centre, so that's why it's important that everyone knows who we're talking about. Good to talk to you, Richard.
Good, thank you.
Richard Olsen joining us from the Transport Workers Union.